afternoon, everybody. What is going on, everybody? Thursday, October 3rd, 2024. My name is Kevin Smith. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Loud Majority Live. We got a jam-packed show for you guys today. More fallout coming from Tim Walz over his disastrous debate performance. Many people with a whole lot of things to say on that. Donald Trump talking about doing a sit-down interview with 60 Minutes, but he has one concern. He's got one demand, which at this point, I think it is pretty fair to make on his part. Also, we're going to be talking about this new Jack Smith release, this new part of the indictment that has MSNBC all different kinds of giddy. Despite the fact they admit that they haven't read the damn thing. Despite the fact that they admit that they haven't read it. But the big story of the day, which is going to boil my blood a little bit. $750 to hurricane victims. $750 to hurricane victims. There are going to be some choice words in this show. Believe you me. Believe you me. I am quite pissed off. Quite pissed off. We're going to get to all of that in just 1 second. Before we do that, guys, hit the thumbs up button. Share the video out all over the place. We are rocking. We are rolling today. What's going on? Loud crowd. How are we? Make sure you're hitting the thumbs up button. Let's get, somebody said I'm frozen. I don't think I am. I don't think I am frozen. Yeah, all right. Who just said that? Billy Cycle. Don't forget to pay taxes on that. Yeah, that's right. You're going to get $750 from the government, and you're going to have to pay taxes on it. We're going to get to all of that because I'm blown away. I'm absolutely blown away. And sometimes things will happen in politics or in our culture or whatever that produce so much emotion that I'm not mad. I'm emotionless at the callousness of this administration. It's frightening to me. It's absolutely frightening. Guys, hit that thumbs up. Oh, where's the chat? Boom. There we go. Hit that thumbs up button. Share the video out all over the place. There everybody is. I want to say hello to everybody. What's up, Jeremy? How's it going? Marissa, how are you? Cindy, how are you? This microphone is about to fall down. Whatever, we'll fix that later. Custom Rock, how are you? Sissy Mouse, what's happening? R-Star, how are you? Want to say hello to everybody in the chat. Mary Beck, how are you? When you sign the back of the check, what are you signing away? All right, you got that right. Hi, Kevin. Still shaking from Jeremy's show? Yeah, I caught the end of it. I heard it was quite intense. We're going to have to go back and look it up before. Mr. Shy, watching from NYC. How are you, my New York brethren? What is going on? Before we dive into the stories today, I do just want to make a couple of quick announcements. Number one, this Saturday at our Montauk rally, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., 10 a.m. to 12 noon, we'll be at the Massapequa train station heading out to Montauk. Make sure you're following on all the social medias, all the LFA social medias. I promise you there's going to be some awesome footage you guys are going to want to see from that. We do a hell of a time out there. Also, if you're in the D.C. metro area, October 10th, I will be speaking at Georgetown University. I want to thank the Georgetown College Republicans for inviting me down there for that. Come on down, say hello. What's up, Uncle Richie? Got my uncle in the chat. Very good. Very good. So once again, October 10th, that is October 10th, Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. Super excited about that. My first college speaking gig. Giddy up. Let's go. Also, Sunday, for all the locals, I will be at the St. James Street Fair. And there's no reason why you shouldn't come down to that, considering there's nothing else going on. So let's dive into all of the news. I am blown away The Biden-Harris administration has generously offered hurricane victims $750 following the disaster by Hurricane Helene. I can't believe I even have to play this for you, but here it is.
And the federal relief and assistance that we have been providing has included FEMA providing $750 for folks who need immediate needs being met.
She said it with such confidence. Like, can you believe it? You're going to get $750. Couple of questions here. Number one, where exactly do you get the balls? Number two, and I mean this, if you live in a town where everything has been washed away, what are you doing with $750? You're going to what? Swim down to the gas station and go get some clean drinking water? That $750, if given to people in cash, will be more useful to them if they wipe their asses with it. That's serious. That's how much that would be worth. Number two, if it's deposited into some sort of bank account. Most places still don't have electricity, which means you can't use a debit card. Once again, will be better served if they wipe their asses with it. Moreover, $175 billion for Ukraine over the last 2 years, and you have the balls to come out and offer your own citizens $750. You know, I get asked a lot, Kevin, why do you go so hard after Republicans? It's a team game. We should all be on the same team. We've got to unify to beat the Democrats. You know why I go after Republicans? Because I'm not a Republican. I'm a populist. I am someone who believes, just a thought, that if you've got $750 per person or $200 billion, maybe you ought to switch. I'll tell you what, why don't we go to Ukraine and see if they'll give us any foreign aid to help our starving people? Because we certainly have no problem shelling over that money for military supplies to pay the pensions of their sanitation workers for some reason. That's why I go after Republicans. Because they've all been quiet, save for one. Save for one. And we'll get to him in a minute because I'm going to keep highlighting the work of the American hero that is Corey Mills, the only person, the only elected official whose head is not currently up their ass. The rest of Congress is back in their districts right now campaigning. They're shaking hands and they're going to Boy Scout meetings and they're going to ribbon cuttings of boutique stores in their downtowns. While Corey Mills is hanging out of the side of a helicopter 1,000 miles away from his district, just casually saving lives.
Hey everyone, Congressman Corey Mills, Florida 7th District, wanted to give you the Day 3 wrap-up. Today we were able to get to a lot of the outer areas. As a Florida man, one of the places that we went to recently, it was called Pensacola, North Carolina. Very remote area. Talked to their fire chief there, Mr. Harrison. He unfortunately reported that they had 4 fatalities, 2 more that is unaccounted for that washed down the river. And he believes that they're going to be recovering bodies for the next couple months due to the amount of landslide that was in the area. We were able to get to Burnsville, do a couple health and welfare checks, get into Asheville, do more of our actual supply distribution. Proud to say that at this point, over the last 3 days, that we have transported almost 13,000 pounds of food. So we brought in about 5 tons of food, and we've actually transferred probably another 1,000, 1,500 out of the Asheville distribution center into other areas that was more impacted. So unfortunately, one of the things that occurred today that slowed down our progress is that President Biden decided to go ahead and do a fly-in today. But then he also put a TFR, 30-mile TFR around the actual impacted area, which means that no helicopters and no planes have any access or any capability to fly. So for 4 hours, they were grounded, search and rescue was grounded, distribution of food and supplies was grounded. And so this, in my opinion, was irresponsible. If FEMA is going to not show up and the federal government is going to delay up to a week to be here, at least don't stop the operations by the civilians and organizations like Mercury One, like Universal Air, like Sentinel Foundation, and others who are Samaritan's Purse, who are trying to do the right things in lieu of federal government assistance. So I'll be back in here tomorrow. We've got a couple more places that we need to seek out. We need to bring more meds for insulin drops, as well as for a tremendous amount of other meds that our PJs got the list for that we're going to try and get to Pensacola, the remote areas, and also another area on the backside of the mountain that had a landslide. So we'll keep you updated and we'll let you know what's going on. Thanks so much. Keep North Carolina in your prayers. God bless.
God bless Corey Mills. I spoke to Congressman Mills last night, and he's just a great man. That's it. And if you live in just northeast of Orlando, I speak for the rest of us when I say that we are all jealous. If we had a government full of Corey Mills, I think we might be a little bit better off. Instead, we do not have that. We have a government full of selfish people who only care about themselves. Kamala Harris actually goes out and touts $750. How you getting it to him? How you going to get it to him? And we're going to talk about that no-fly zone in just 1 second as we go over all the details of this, because there is so much to break down with what happened yesterday with this storm. So much. But this from the Post-Millennial. The Biden-Harris administration announced on Wednesday that $750 would be distributed to residents in states ravaged by Hurricane Helene. The federal assistance will be provided through FEMA, and those who need immediate relief can apply for financial aid at their earliest convenience. Really? Should they fill out a form from what, a FEMA camp? Should they fill out a form while they're hanging out on their roofs, hoping that Corey Mills sees them in his helicopter? Where exactly do you fill this for? Should I do it from the cell phone that hasn't had service or battery life in 4 days? And I want to be clear, this is not a Democrat-Republican issue, because during Hurricane Katrina, it took them 5 days to get water to the Superdome. 5 days. What is the point of having a government at all if they can't do this? I am so pissed off about this. Of course, Kamala Harris had to go down there to rural Georgia in her U.S. government windbreaker because, it wouldn't be storm relief if you didn't have your wet weather gear on for her photo ops. What is the point of having a government? We're going to get to what Corey Mills said about the no-fly zone in just 1 second. Before we do, Mike Lindell.
You're still looking good.
I'm still feeling good. I've got all your MyPillow products. Mattress topper, bed sheets, My Pillows, towels, slippers, blankets, sleepwear, dog beds.
Whoa, Charles. Everyone now can get MyPillow products at huge discounts at MyPillow.com. That's right. Now's the time to go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our 3-in-1 sale. We're bringing you exciting new products, overstock specials, and closeout deals you won't find anywhere else. For example, when you buy one of our brand new MyPillow 2.0s, you get another one absolutely free. And with our overstock sale, you save 50% on our luxurious Giza Dream bed sheets. That's as low as $29.99 for the best sheets ever. And with our biggest closeout special, you get our all-season slippers for only $35. Or our sandals and slides for just $25. Quantities are limited, and once they're gone, they're gone.
Guys, head on over to MyPillow.com, promo code LOUD. That's MyPillow.com, promo code LOUD for up to 80% off everything on the website. That's MyPillow.com, promo code LOUD. I'm fired up right now. So, Joe Biden institutes a no-fly zone over much of the devastated area. And what exactly does that mean? What does that entail? Well, it turns out a firefighter, a private officer, a private firefighter, was threatened with arrest in North Carolina after using his own helicopter to rescue hurricane victims as the Biden-Harris administration restricts airspace on private flights and drones affecting the area. Now, drones also, guys, just so you know, I know many of you did this on Jeremy's show, but all of the Rumble rants that you guys put up today will go directly towards the donations that Jeremy is putting together for the hurricane victims. So if anybody wants to give a Rumble rant today, just know that that will go towards the donations. We really appreciate it so much, and we know how generous you guys always are on this network, and we continue to thank you all for your support. I'm going to be making an announcement tomorrow when I work out all the details. We're going to be putting something together out here in New York. I just got to get a couple more details about it. But I want to thank everybody, for everybody who's already donated, everyone who will continue to donate. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So back to the story. A South Carolina volunteer firefighter was threatened with arrest after he used his own helicopter to assist rescue efforts in western North Carolina following the hurricane. This comes as the Biden administration's Department of Transportation has set up a no-fly zone for drones in the area. It issued a temporary no-fly zone for private flights. Jordan Sidehome, sorry, I'm mispronouncing that, told Queen City News that when he woke up on Saturday, he saw a post on Facebook regarding a family stranded in Banner Elk, North Carolina. After researching the mountains where the family was located on his mapping software and finding a place to land, he loaded his helicopter with bottled water, food, and headed towards the town. I thought, I have a helicopter. Maybe I could help. Sounds like a normal person response. He is also the former head of the Chesterfield County Sheriff's Office Narcotics Unit. Sidehome's son, a high school junior, also went with him, both men being volunteer firefighters with the Sands Hill Volunteer Fire Department in Pageland, South Carolina. As a pilot, he has logged nearly 1,400 flight hours. So this isn't like some guy commandeered a helicopter and just started flying around. Guy knows what he's doing. He contacted the Charlotte Douglas International Airport's air traffic control tower for clearance to fly over the airport. Once that was given, he flew over towards the mountains by way of Lake Lure, landing next to the nearest airport in the Lake Lure area. Sidehome spoke with law enforcement and first responders to coordinate communication channels and to find out where he was needed. He lifted off in the direction of Black Mountain, making 4 rescues. The father and son woke up on Sunday morning after sleeping in the pilot's lounge at a nearby airport to social media and text messages, as well as phone calls from people pleading for help. Him and his son made the decision to go back out on Sunday to assist in the recovery efforts heading through the mountain gap in Lake Lure. As we were flying by, my son actually spotted a lady waving for help. And I asked him, I said, hey, is she waving for help or just waving? No, I think she's waving for help, said his son. They checked for power lines and trees that may be in the way and landed on the couple's destroyed driveway. After coming up with a game plan, Sidehome loaded the wife into the helicopter and left his son there, fearing placing too much weight on the driveway. I originally left my son, the co-pilot, on the side of the mountain. It was kind of unstable, so I didn't want to put more weight on the helicopter to lift back off. So I left my son with the other victim, and I was going to take one person down at a time. He landed after a 3.5-minute flight at a parking lot at a Boy Scout on Boys Camp Road and Memorial Highway. Once he landed where emergency personnel was, I was met by the fire chief, maybe a captain, and he asked me who I was. I told him who I was with, just a local volunteer. The man was from an out-of-state fire department who traveled to North Carolina to assist in the rescue efforts. After talking with the official about his background, Sidehome said, in the middle of the whole conversation and then blocking the road off, I was greeted by the at the time, I didn't know, but the Lake Lure fire chief and assistant chief, and he shut down the whole operation. Sidehome said Lake Lure official asked him who he was, and he gave the same information he had been given by the out-of-state fire officer. His response was, if you have that kind of experience, you should know you should be coordinating with us. And I said, I've been coordinating with everyone as I've been here just the day before, speaking with local law enforcement. The official ordered Seidholm to leave and not come back. However, his son and the woman's husband were still stranded. Okay. Now I'm pissed off. So this guy leaves his high school son, his high school aged son, on the side of a mountain after a hurricane, I'm sure at risk of landslides, to go bring this woman back, and a local law enforcement official tells him to stand down. Well, to that local law enforcement official, they don't mention his name. For lack of a better term, we'll call him Shithead. Well, Shithead, no, I'm going to get my son. When asked for a specific reason, he was ordered to stop the rescue effort. The official said, "You're interfering with my operation." Seidholm said the official told him to report to the Rutherford County Airport and wait for the Federal Aviation Administration to meet him. He said, "I'm going back to get my co-pilot. If you turn around and go back up that mountain, you'll be under arrest." He said, "Well, sir, I'm going to get my co-pilot. I don't know what to tell you." The official then called over 2 officers and again threatened him with arrest. At that point, I had to make a decision. I have a victim, I have my son, and I politely asked the officers, told them the situation again, explaining everything, told them who I'd been coordinating with, and I said, "Hey, if I go back up there and get this victim and bring him down to this landing spot that other emergency personnel have designated, am I going to be arrested?" The officer's response was, "Man, I really don't know what to tell you." See, this is what I'm talking about, okay? If you're a cop and your local fire chief says, "Officers, arrest this man. He's trying to save people's lives on the side of a mountain," you, as the cop, should look at the local volunteer fire chief and tell him, well, Chad, I'll let you say what one ought to say in that particular instance. As a matter of fact, I'll put the live chat up there. Oh, look at this, guys. Look at these donations coming in. I want to thank everybody. Sagan, thank you so much. Debbie, thank you. Dawn, thank you. Florida T-Pack, thank you. Custom Rock, thank you. LI Supervisor. Oh. Okay. I know who that is now. Urs Mommy. Thank you for the $100 donation for that, guys. All of that go, yeah. You know what, chat? I'll let you all say what that guy should have said. There you go. Everybody said it. There you go. Just run it off. Run off what you think ought to be said in that particular situation. But you know, that's what happens, okay? Look, I know I live on Long Island, and people don't know. Long Island is the biggest small town in America, okay? And for my Long Islanders, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about here. There are so many positions on Long Island, local fire chief, district this, legislator that, assembly person here, that every single person thinks they're actually important enough to make a decision like that, considering even though most of them heads up ass at all times. Every person thinks that like they're important enough to tell a volunteer from another state rescuing people on the side of a mountain that if you do that, you're going to get arrested. I mean, I don't know. Is anybody feeling like a sort of John McClane sort of vibe here? Isn't that what happens in the first 15 minutes of every Die Hard movie? Some bureaucrat that doesn't know his ass from his elbow tells John McClane not to go and save the world, and he does it anyway, and he turns out to be right. Isn't that what happened in like every Die Hard movie? I don't know. Turns out, if you have a helicopter and you want to go save people on the side of a mountain, maybe you want to go do that and tell the local fire chief, vanabla, buddy, okay? Let's move on. This blows me away. And all of it happening, the chats today are off the hook. You got that right, Jeremy. People are fire. And you know what? Jeremy, you know what? It gives me hope. It gives me hope that so many people, 1,200 people watching in the chat, hit the thumbs up button, guys. Let's get this up to 300 for the day. It gives me hope that so many people are starting to wake up to the fact that just because you're some elected bureaucrat or you're a fire chief in some county nobody's ever heard of before doesn't give you the right to put other people's lives in jeopardy. Because I got news for you, okay? Most of the people we elect to things are dumb. They're dumb. They're really stupid. My question was, if I was this guy in the helicopter, why am I saving these people's lives? Why aren't you? Well, Joe Biden put a no-fly zone over this mountain. Oh, okay, well, take it up with him. I remember when I was talking to Nick Sorter the other day, if you guys watched that episode, Nick Sorter, who was in Maui following the fires, he was telling a story about how local officials had blocked off certain roads, not letting people leave a containment area. And he was telling us that the only people who survived were the ones who told those officials, get out of my way, I'm leaving. It turns out those who disrupt are often the ones left to tell the story. Because like in La Jolla, is that it? La Jolla? Everybody who stayed died. So I want to give a big shout out. I want to give a big shout out to this guy who, I mean, can you imagine this? Left his son on the side of a mountain to rescue people. And then Pete Buttigieg, literally the most useless person in the history of government, comes out and announces a no-fly zone so that Kamala Harris can come in and let everybody know that the government is being so kind to them that they gave them $750 to wipe their asses with. I'm a little fired up. These are the things that bother me. We can argue about taxes, and we can argue about abortion. We can argue about guns and you know, school curriculums, and we can argue about all that. But the incompetence of our leaders is almost immeasurable. And we're getting reports that there's going to be a lot more people dead. A lot more people could have been saved. We're going to get to more of this in just 1 second. Before we do, guys, try Armra.
The biggest benefit, honestly, has been with my skin. Skin was more hydrated, more radiant.
This is the best superfood that you could take.
It has all the essential nutrients you need for your skin, your gut, energy, focus, mood, performance.
My hair has gotten so much thicker ever since taking this.
I used to have a probiotic, a green juice that replaced it all with this Armra colostrum. It is amazing.
You gotta take it.
If you want to try it, try armra.com.
Guys, go to tryarmra.com/LFATV. Start feeling better today. That's tryarmra.com/LFATV for the superfood formula. Start feeling better today. Tryarmra.com/LFATV for 15% off and free shipping. We're getting some updates right now. John Rich of Big and Rich, the country music group, put out on X this morning that he just spoke with a friend of his in law enforcement in North Carolina. He said they have, and I quote, already used over 500 body bags And there are bodies in the trees, in the mud, in the cars, in the houses. There are bodies everywhere. There is no federal support whatsoever. That's coming from John Rich, a man who I have no reason to distrust. 500 body bags. How many of them could have been saved? Absolutely makes me sick. And like I said, man, this is not a Democrat-Republican thing. This is a failure of bureaucracy thing. Libertarians are starting to look a hell of a lot better these days. Because as I said, what is the point of a government if they can't get things like this correct? If it takes them 5 days to get water to the Superdome. Thank you, President Bush. You're almost as stupid as Tim Walz. It makes me sick. Luckily, the Biden administration has decided that they know where to spend the money, guys. Because there's a report out that came out a couple of minutes ago that a federal judge, you ready for this, has ruled that Joe Biden can move forward with his student loan forgiveness plan, clearing the way for relief for over 25 million Americans. The decision allows a temporary restraining order blocking the discharge of student loan debt to expire, enabling the administration to implement their plan. The ruling is a significant win for the Biden administration, which has faced legal challenges for the student debt relief. So, what does this mean? That means the Biden administration student loan plan will forgive $20,000 of your student loan if you went to school on a Pell Grant, $10,000 if you went to school without a Pell Grant. The forgiveness only applies to those earning less than $125,000 a year. If you have an undergraduate loan, you can cap your repayment at 5% of your monthly income. So, let me get this straight. The exact same week Joe Biden and his useless vice president offers Americans who have lost everything. They watched their homes float down the street while they were sitting on top of it. They offer them $750,000 a year. $750. $750 that they can't use. $750 that gets them virtually nothing. In the exact same week, they tell a bunch of art history majors and English lit majors, useless people, that they're going to get their student loans forgiven. Makes me sick. Absolutely makes me sick. That happened 16 hours after Kamala Harris announced $750. I'm nauseated. Absolutely nauseated right now. Luckily, for everyone, it gets worse. Luckily, we got more in here that I want to make sure I get to everybody. C Bink, thank you so much for your Rumble rant there. One more. LRG, thank you so much. I'm sick of them too. I am so sick and tired of this corrupt government as well. Everybody, look at the top, the Rumble rants. Thank you so much for all your donations to the network. Everything donated today. It doesn't go to me. It doesn't go to Jared. It goes directly towards the hurricane relief stuff. I want to thank everybody so much for that. I'm frustrated. Thank God for Corey Mills. That's all I got to say. At least we got one. At least we got one. Of course, this comes on the same day as the freshly shaven testicle Alejandro Mayorkas comes out and warns that FEMA doesn't have enough money to last through the hurricane season. I want to be clear, we're still in the middle of the hurricane season, so things could get worse if certain hurricanes decide to move certain directions. Make sure you're watching Sean Farish's show for all the weather updates. Sean will appreciate that. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, the freshly shaven testicle of the Biden administration, says that the agency tasked with helping communities over the hurricane relief and other natural disasters does not have enough money to make it through the hurricane season. He warns that FEMA doesn't have enough funding. He said on Wednesday, the agency is being stretched as it works with states to assess damage from Hurricane Helene, deliver meals, food, generators, and other critical supplies. Mayorkas was not specific to how much additional money the agency would need, but his remarks on Air Force One underscored concerns voiced by Joe Biden and other lawmakers earlier this week that Congress may need to pass a supplemental spending bill. Or stop sending my money to Ukraine. Or stop giving it to 5% of the totality of Haiti. Stop taking in the totality of the world's poor. Stop giving $5,000 on debit cards to a bunch of drug-addled Venezuelan gang members taking over major American cities. While white people, poor white people in Virginia die. See, that's what happens when you base relief on equity. You get dumbass statements like this from Kamala Harris that says we have to prioritize our money based on the race and the sex of certain people.
It is our lowest income communities and our communities of color that are most impacted by these extreme conditions and impacted by issues that are not of their own making. And so absolutely. And so we have to address this in a way that is about giving resources based on equity, understanding that we fight for equality, but we also need to fight for equity, understanding not everyone starts out at the same place. And if we want people to be in an equal place, sometimes we have to take into account those disparities and do that work.
You hear that, poor white people? You go to the back of the line. No wonder rural North Carolina and eastern Tennessee keep getting the short end of the stick. You see, they don't look the right way. They don't look the right way for Kamala Harris to give a shit. See, only she's allowed to change her race as she feels fit. Maybe everybody in western North Carolina should identify as black, and then Kamala Harris would care. But there's no pushback anywhere from any news outlet about any of this stuff. None whatsoever. Jackie, thank you so much. As your Rumble rant comes in, thank you, thank you. Some people don't really seem to care. And that would be the totality of the MSNBC crew. Because it turns out yesterday, Jack Smith scratched his nose, so that's all they talked about for, 14 consecutive hours of live television. We're going to get to the updates about that in just a second. Before we do that, guys, hit that thumbs up button. Share the video out all over the place. The chat's fired up today. We got big numbers. I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot. Guys, before we keep moving and grooving today, head on over to lfatv.us. That's lfatv.us. Kevin looks a little under the weather. Or is his blood pressure up? Oh, my blood pressure's up. I'm pissed. Shilala, thank you. I apologize for all the F-bombs I'm throwing today. I just can't help it. Use where needed. Yeah, I guess I fall into that category as well. Guys, head on over to LFATV.us. That's LFATV.us. That's your home base, your mothership for all things LFATV related. You guys can check out the LFATV store. And if you'd like to support this network so that we can do more on-the-ground reporting, which is something we have planned not only in the coming months, but for the months after the election as well, please do consider becoming a monthly donor over at LFATV.us. That's LFATV.us. Thank you all so much. Jeremy was fired up too. If Jeremy's fired up, I'm allowed to be fired up, right? That's the rule. His not that. That's the rule, right? Whatever. I'm following it. What are you gonna do? What can you do? Bombs away, says Wob. Yep, absolutely. Oh, so yesterday, Jack Smith decided to release some new indictment that nobody really seemed to care about unless you were the gaggle of the angry lesbians over at MSNBC. Here is MSNBC. You ready for this? Commenting on the new Jack Smith indictment, release documents, whatever the hell it may be, while telling their audience that they haven't read the damn thing yet. They actually say that, and the rubes, the rich liberals living in their penthouses on 8th Avenue, just lob it up, despite the fact they're telling you they didn't read it.
We've got some breaking news we're going to get to now. Jack Smith's election interference case against Donald Trump. Well, the judge in D.C., Tanya Chutkan, just unsealed the special counsel's 165-page redacted motion on presidential immunity. Joining us now, MSNBC legal correspondent Lisa Rubin. It is 165 pages. We have had it for all of, I think, 4 minutes. We obviously haven't been able to go through all of it. Still, this was what we thought would be sort of a mini trial. Here is the evidence we have against Donald Trump in regards to what happened in 2020. Is there anything so far that is jumping out to you now that we didn't know about before today?
Well, Katie, one of the things that I would just point out is that we obviously know who the government thinks Donald Trump's most important co-conspirators are. In this indictment, there is a description of 6 co-conspirators, the majority of whom have been definitively identified before. That having been said, one of the things that pops out to me immediately is how many people here are identified just by P numbers, meaning they're not people alleged to be co-conspirators, but they are people who are alleged witnesses or participants in the event. And there are so many of them that even on page 13, which is as far as I've gotten, there's a reference to P76, meaning there are at least 76 people listed in this description, this detailed recitation of the facts that the government wants Judge Chutkan to see relevant to her immunity determinations that we know are involved here. And many of these people are people who came from the campaign world. That's the other thing that jumps out to me immediately, is just the identification of so many people from the former president's campaign who were involved in what the government is now describing as purely private activity designed to ensure that he remained in office. That matters because for purposes of fulfilling the Supreme Court's mandate in terms of immunity, anybody who worked for the campaign alone and never was a member of executive branch staff, those contacts between them are, according to the government, fair game and should be fair game according to the Supreme Court as well, which recognized there is a realm of private conduct that could be within chargeable conduct for the former president.
All right, so let's break this down a little bit. Number one, Katie Tur admits to her audience it's 165 pages and they've only had it for 4 minutes. Then the legal analyst, who apparently got dressed 95 years ago, I don't know what century that jacket came from, decides she's going to give her legal analysis, even admitting she only got to page 13. One of the things they cite in this document, I can't believe it, is what they're saying is that the speech Donald Trump gave on January 6th cannot be considered an official act as president. Are you ready for the reasoning behind this? Because his entrance song was not "Hail to the Chief." Instead, he walked out to the YMCA. That's Jack Smith's actual argument. that because he walked out to the YMCA and not to Hail to the Chief, therefore it's a private act and not a public act, therefore he can be charged with inciting insurrection. What? So, when Kamala Harris has all of her, I don't know what whore rappers on stage, like Megan Thee Stallion or, I don't know. I don't know any new rappers, I'm going to be honest with you. When any of them come on stage, is that a private act or an official act? Because if it's a private act, then she can't use campaign funds, therefore violating FEC laws, lock her up. Why not? Since we're just making up the rules as we go along here, I see no reason as to why that shouldn't fall under that category. But alas, you can't do that. You can't charge Kamala Harris with crimes. You can't ask about Tim Walz just making things up. He misspoke when he was at Tiananmen Square. I think you would know if you were at, I don't know, the most famous protest in history. I think you would know that. I also think you would know if you held a weapon in combat. Tim Walz, he didn't misspeak. He's a liar. And Scott Jennings over on CNN finally asks the question.
We have an old president in office.
Okay, so everybody seems to be worried about J.D. Vance and dishonesty, or Donald Trump and dishonesty. I never hear the same concern about Harris and the lies that she tells about Trump, or in Walz himself, who gave the most disastrous response to a question about his own dishonesty about being in Tiananmen Square that I've ever heard in a debate. He also did the same thing with Dana Bash when questioned about dishonesty a couple of months ago. And effectively what he has said is, sorry, guys, I'm too dumb to tell the truth. I mean, he called himself a knucklehead. I have bad grammar. This is a guy who holds himself up to be a school teacher and a coach. Is that the life lesson he's giving the kids that are under his care? Hey, you can lie, and then you can just kind of slough it off as being, you know, too dumb to tell the truth. I think we spend 99% of our time going down rabbit holes about Vance and Trump and honesty in campaigns, and we spend no time at all holding Walz and Harris to the same standard, and I don't understand it.
Make sure you pronounce your name correctly. We wouldn't want Michael Eric Dyson to call you a racist on TV and then try to bang you in your text messages later on that night. If you know, you know. These people have no shame whatsoever, but the media narrative is beginning to crumble. The media narrative is beginning to crumble because now they're starting to run out of anti-Trumpers to put on their nonsense television shows. We're going to get to that in 1 minute. Before we do, guys, remember I was telling you yesterday that the person who makes this website is absolutely phenomenal. Well, they just added something new to the loudmajorityusa.com. It's the I'm voting for the felon t-shirt. Many people have been asking for it. It just pops up on you ask for it, it gets made. Bingo, bango. Guys, head on over to loudmajorityusa.com. That's loudmajorityusa.com. Sign up for our newsletter. Check out the shop. We got kids hoodies. This website is getting better and better every single day. I promise you, if you go on this website and can't find something you like, well, it's not our fault. Something else is going on here. Guys, we got look at the dog line here. All the good dog stuff. Giddy up. Pick up your Trump Vance flags today so that you can proudly show them. Oh, here we go. Here's one you guys can pick up. I got it right here. Boom. You know what? I'm wearing it right now. You can pick up the Trump Miller Lite shirt. Giddy up, let's go. Because we don't drink Bud Light around here because we are not Dylan Mulvaney. Guys, head on over to loudmajorityusa.com. That's loudmajorityusa.com. Sign up for the newsletter. Check out our shop. Use promo code LFA to get 20% off everything on the website. That's promo code LFA to get 20% off everything on the website. Boom. We got it in I think we got this in like every color. Look at that. Boom. Every single color you can get it in. Some colors I've never even heard of, but it looks good. Boom, there we go. LoudMajorityUSA.com. Use promo code LFA. So the media narrative is beginning to is beginning to shift. It's beginning to fall. It's beginning to die. And all I can say is, hell yeah. Yesterday on MSNBC, they had a panel of Republicans on there watching them debate, whether Donald Trump is good, Donald Trump is bad. And Ari Melbourne decided he was going to have a never Trumper on, who decided that, it turns out he had made previous comments that he would never vote for Donald Trump again. And then he lived through 3.5 years of this disastrous administration, and Ari Melbourne didn't get the answer he wanted.
A no for you after that. Why was it important for you to say no more Trump because of his January 6th conduct, and do you stand by that?
No, I don't stand by it, and I'll tell you why. I've now lived 4 years under the Biden-Harris policies, and I have to say that those policies are not only becoming an existential threat to our country's way of life, but to our allies as well.
So when you
and it has to no,
so
no,
Ambassador,
no.
This is, I'll let you
Ari,
finish, but
no,
this is so
finish.
striking. You said it was a no for me after that, after January 6th.
I did.
And here we are right now.
I did.
And you're saying it's a yes for you.
It is a yes for me. It is an absolute yes for me. That is how badly the Biden-Harris team have prosecuted their job.
But the whole point you seem to be making was that January 6th and that kind of attack on democracy is bigger than any policy.
I am seeing so many attacks on democracy that eclipse January 6th.
So I want to ask Sarah,
if you want to ask me what those are, I'm happy.
Well, we're never going to hear from that guy again. Safe to say that guy just ended his political pundit career on MSNBC because everybody knows you can't make Ari Melbourne look bad on MSNBC. That's a rule, despite the fact that it's really easy to make him look bad because he's dumb. He's just not bright. He's not bright. You would think you have a guest. If I have a guest on the show, I kind of have a feeling about what they think about things. We're actually having a guest on next week. Super excited about that. We're going to be talking about Iran and why that's important. I kind of have an idea of what they're going to say. Kind of have a thought. Ari Melbourne couldn't even do his job, couldn't do his basic job. We got one more story that I want to get to, and then we're going to end the show on a happy note. We're going to end the show on something lovely that I saw, something that'll make you laugh, because let's be honest, who could not like Jim Halpern? Guys, before we keep going, hit the thumbs up button, share this video out all over the place. Once again, guys, any of the Rumble rants you guys put in today, we really do appreciate it. It's going directly to hurricane relief here from LFA TV. We really do appreciate everything you guys have donated so far. Every little bit helps. I thank you all so much for that. So, guys, Rumble rant, let's go before the end of the show. Thank you. One more story that I wanted to get to. People have been hitting Trump over this 60 Minutes article. Over this 60 Minutes thing that he said that he didn't want to do. Well, Donald Trump said that he would sit down with 60 Minutes again. He has one minor request. I think it's very important that he sits down with CBS again. I do. People watch 60 Minutes. Comes on right after the game. Donald Trump said that he isn't sitting down with CBS News until he gets one thing. He's rightfully earned. The former president was asked in Wisconsin whether or not he would sit down with 60 Minutes again. He said he'll speak with anyone, even the folks in the media who hate him. But he demands an apology from Lesley Stahl over being overly differential to the bias and the corrupt intelligence community who knowingly said that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation. We all remember that clip. They all came out of the woodwork to cover up for Joe Biden's shady business dealings, and all Donald Trump wants is for Lesley Stahl to say that she was wrong. Now, she'll never do that because she's one of the important people who has never been wrong before and doesn't have to answer to normal folks out there. She doesn't have to answer to her viewers that she's been lying to for like 25 years. But you know what? 60 Minutes, if you want the Donald Trump interview, all you've got to do is just admit you lied. Not even admit you lied. Just admit you were wrong. That's all you got to do. Admit you were wrong. Shouldn't be difficult. Well, it's not difficult for most people. We know it'll be difficult for you. Safe to say, Donald Trump won't be going on 60 Minutes again, even though I think he should. Even though I do think he should do it. I promised you guys we were going to laugh at the end of the show, so I don't know who did this. This got sent to me, and it just made me laugh. It seems like somebody has taken various clips from The Office and put J.D. Vance over Jim and doing that sort of Jim Halpern face when he stares into the camera. Here, look, today was a tough show. We all got to laugh a little.
Donald Trump tweeted, because that's the standard diplomacy of Donald Trump.
It's just funny. It's just funny stuff, guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in, everybody. I'll see you guys back live tomorrow. Ryan Mott is coming up next. Until then, guys, stay loud.